Jonny. Hey Qween, it's just a good old-fashioned geeky. Hey Qween, it's just a good old-fashioned geeky.
All good girls are here. Season 7 is fucking here. It's about to be a premiere. Hey, hey, Qween. Hey, hey, Qween. Johnny and Lady Red got the tea, so you're about to get red. All the fun they going to spread. Hey, hey, Qween. Hey, hey, Qween. You about to get Hey, 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 Qween.
Hey Qween Season 7 premiere starts now.
Hey Qween, come on and spill the tea. Hey Qween, it's just a good old-fashioned kiki. Hey Qween, we're cutting up with Jonny. Hey, 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 hey Qween.
Yeah! Oh, hello, my positively perky peacocks, and welcome to the devastatingly delightful Hey Qween Season 7 premiere! Yeah! With me, your host, Mr. Jonny McGovern. Today's show is going to be an inferno, my little gay devils. Our guest today is a legend. She's an icon and an all-star. She's talented, she's fierce, she's dazzling, and she slayed it on RuPaul's Drag Race Season 6 and All Stars 3. The effervescent BenDeLaCreme is here today. But before she springs on out here, there's another queen I must give you the 411 on. Oh. She's the cream of the crop. Crop top, that is. She's nutritious and delicious. Why? She's the avocado toast served at the hipster cafe in my imagination. Well, that's the Titty Cafe. This lady is known to have the 2 highest peaks in Hollywood. It's Lady Red Couture. Yay!
Hey, Qween!
Oh, hey, Qween!
That shirt is cute.
What can I say? I'm husband material. We're both rocking a little purple accent.
A little purple, yeah.
For our brand new set.
Well, ain't nothing wrong with this. It's all about royalty.
Oh, you know what? You're right about that.
Yes.
Let us put our crowns on our heads.
I'll put mine somewhere else.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. All right, Lady Red. Things are getting interesting already. She put the crown where? I mean, this place, do y'all love it? Y'all think it looks good? Look at her.
So extravagant.
Stunning.
Yes.
It was so nice to have a lovely new view. Just out the window.
Just out the window.
Perennial sunset.
Look at the toxic sky.
Oh, it's wonderful. I'm feeling the effect. Oh. All right, honey, we have a huge guest.
I'm so excited.
We have been talking to her again like we do with some of these girls for years, and she finally managed to slip us into her schedule.
And that little girl has not changed. She's just the same sweet, just wonderful person.
I think she is delightful,
Yes.
and BenDeLaCreme will be here right after this very gay break.
Yeah!
Our guest today, I can simply say, is the creme of the crop. She rises to the top. I'm talking about BenDeLaCreme.
Hi, Jonny.
Qween.
I'm so happy to be here with you.
I know. We talked about this like 2 years ago.
I know. It's been a long
Drag
time.
World. I was like, you gotta come on.
I know.
And you were our first guest that we booked, I think, a whole year in advance.
I am delighted by that, and I was still 20 minutes late. Thanks for that. A year and 20 minutes it took to get me in here.
You know what? It's worth it, isn't it?
Thanks, all.
Well, you look stunning.
Thank you. You as well.
Oh, what can I say, darling?
That Colgate swoop is what always... Do you remember that Colgate man?
Oh, which one?
The one from the commercial.
Oh,
from
the
ding? Yeah. He was like made of toothpaste.
Oh.
And his hair was like at the tip of a toothbrush. And you've kind of...
My icon, the Colgate man.
Yes.
Ding.
Yeah.
It's because I'm always whipping around.
Yeah, well, it's those 90s references are really where my heart lies. So
yes.
if I can pull out an obscure 90s reference that nobody's going to get, then I will.
Hooray! Hey, Lady Red, don't be jealous of BenDeLaCreme's gigantic jewels.
She has to leave them when she leaves.
Lady Red, you are looking absolutely stunning today.
That's my filter.
Now, you've been referred to as DeLa, just Ben, BenDeLaCreme.
Yes.
How would you like me to refer to you today?
Oh, you can call me whatever you like. Generally, DeLa is when I'm in the garb, that's how I go by. Because if I'm DeLa, then I'm like, I'm DeLa right now.
Right.
Ben is the one who's like, I'm Ben right now, I'm not DeLa. It's actually very hard for me to speak in an out of drag voice, unless I try to do it how Adore does it. Well, I feel like, actually...
Be sure that you are following us right here at Hey Qween TV on all your social media. Isn't that right, Lady Red?
Yeah!
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for agreeing so forcefully. All right, sweetie, well, we finally got you here, and we're gonna dive in deep.
Oh my God, let's do it.
First, let's talk about your history. Let's get into it. Let's take you back to Connecticut.
Ooh,
Where you were born. Yes, all the way back, sweetie.
All right.
Tell me about little BenDeLa.
Little BenDeLa was just an awkward little thing, rolling around in the woods of northwestern Connecticut. Yeah, I was very... I like to think that I'm closer now to who I was at 5 than I was at any point in between. Just because I was a very weird, creative kid with very few inhibitions, which, you know, those of us who are weird, queer kids generally get squashed pretty early.
Right.
And then we have to fight out of that squash.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very into the arts. My dad my parents were both teachers. My dad had come from a theater background. My mom had come from a visual arts background.
Oh, that is a very artistic family.
Yeah, so I had a lot of influence that way growing up. And, but then, you know, if you're fat and weird and you know, I was never in a closet. There was no coming out of anything.
It could not contain you.
No, it was, you know, I mean, I was trying to dress like this from the, you know, time I could pick out my own clothes. But yeah, so I was, you know, I didn't have a lot of friends, and it was a pretty, I was pretty sad and lonely. My mom died when I was 13.
Right. So that must have been not only having to deal with being a sort of fat kid and people being mean to you, but when you lose your mom.
Yeah. And she was really my lifeline, you know, and she was the one person who was sort of who kind of told me that the weird things that I was were okay and were beautiful, you know, and so after that there wasn't much of that voice around, and so there were quite a few very dark years in you know, junior high and high school where I just wasn't really I didn't think it would ever be okay, you know. I really, you know, sort of held on for dear life in the hopes that something at some point would shake out and be, and that there would be some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, but there wasn't necessarily. I wasn't sure, you know. But fortunately, my dad was brilliant and basically was like, I don't have the tools to deal with this kid, and there aren't the resources for him here. So he sent me off to a school for the arts, my last 2 years of high school in Massachusetts, which was full of gay kids.
Right.
And suddenly all the weird attributes that everybody had sort of made me feel crappy for before that were the things that made me cool and popular. And and that was I mean, honestly, that saved my life.
Now, when you were in your teenage years, that's when you started to discover some drag, right?
Yeah.
You saw that Varla Jean Merman and Holiday Ham?
Yeah, well...
Was that the first peek at it? What was the first peek?
Well, the first peek was probably Rue. You know,
right, of course. Everybody's
through
first
the television.
peek. Yeah.
I still really distinctly remember Supermodel, the Brady Bunch movies, which I was transfixed with. Those are such gay movies.
They are.
Trixie and I were just in Palm Springs on a petite vacances, and we rewatched that film. We're both obsessed with it, but film was ahead of its time. Yeah, so Ru was, was out there and was sort of this, I didn't even understand what she was, I was like, didn't quite understand what her gender was or where it was coming from. I just knew there was something I recognized
Liked
there.
it.
But yeah, I moved to Boston right after high school when I was 18. And I first saw Varla perform in the basement of Machine nightclub.
No.
And she was doing her holiday ham show, and I was just, I'd been playing with makeup, and I'd been, doing sort of little, I was such a weird kid. I was like actually like putting on little shows for my like video camera. Like I would have like my stuffed animals way beyond when kids should have stuffed animals. And I would be like acting out plays, right? I'd be like directing, right? Which is like essentially, that's what I mean by like, this is what I do now, right? Now I just make all these burlesque artists in Seattle be my stuffed animals. But yeah, so when I saw Varla, it wasn't so much, oh, I've never, here's something new to me. It was like, oh, there's a container for this thing I already love that I never knew could exist in this way. So, so she just, she blew me away, and still does.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to be friends with her for, probably almost 10 years again on some level because we've known each other.
You got that P-Town connection.
Yeah, and
she's out in the back doing her workouts, her CrossFits.
But I still get nervous around her sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, I just love her. So yeah, so that I turned 21, and within that month, I entered this competition, and I won the first 2 rounds, and there was 3 rounds, and then I was competing for Miss Roscoe's that year or whatever. And then I failed miserably, mostly because there was one of the second round of the third round, it's math, was one of those spinning wheels where you have to kamikaze lip sync. And I got a Cher song, and I didn't know a single lyric. And every old queen in the bar turned on me.
That was it.
They descended on me.
That was it.
Oh my goodness.
That was it.
I never want them back. I had to move.
They said, look at her.
Exactly.
How dare she? Now, was that your years of being Tina Jinkx?
Yes, that was Tina who won all those things and then lost that one thing. Yeah.
Now, tell the audience about Tina Jinkx, because it seems like it was a bit of a different personality than Ms. BenDeLaCreme.
She was a different gal. She was very, it was sort of like a punk riot girl inspiration. So she was it was a lot of patent leather and fishnet and torn and smudged, and she was angry.
Sort of like an early version of your Goth Kitty?
Oh, Goth Kitty was Goth Kitty was a much more refined Tina Jinkx, for sure. So I was reaching deep on that one. Yeah.
Now, what made the switch? Like, how long did you perform as Tina Jinkx before you said, this isn't where I want to go with this character and who I want to keep portraying?
Yeah, I think I had so much anger as a young person, just because of struggling with everything that I just mentioned. And so, I was really feeling just this sort of internalized rage, and I think that was my way of getting it out, is because not only did I feel not super welcome in the straight community, but even when I started working in Chicago and kind of going out to bars and stuff, I was still weird, and I was still a drag queen, and then it wasn't sexy to be a drag queen. Nobody wanted to date a drag queen then.
It's definitely changed over the last, since Drag Race has been on. It's really
totally
changed
different.
everything.
Yeah, so I had anger at the gay community as well. There was a lot of this bubbling up, and so I think that was the manifestation of it for a while. But eventually, I just realized, like, what is this doing? It's just making me more angry. I'm just like rolling around in this anger. It's not changing anything.
Right.
Why don't I have a different persona that can, guide people towards things that would make me less angry at the world?
Right. Yeah.
Because there was this queen in Chicago at the time named Miss Fousey, and she was basically this big old man in a muumuu and like a feather puff on her head, and she would come into the bars and she would like hand out candy, and she would call everyone pineapple. It was like, oh, hello pineapple, hello pineapple, and it was like she was the mom. It was like she came into the space, and everybody, all of their like bitchy hard shells kind of like melted away. And I was like, oh, that's how you do it. That's how you make the queer community more accepting and more soft and loving,
Good old, what's her name again?
Miss Fousey.
Miss Fousey.
I don't know if she's still out there, but Miss Fousey, if you're roaming the streets, you're an inspiration.
Sweetie. Now, when did you finally get to Seattle, which seems like a place that you artistically really blossomed?
Yeah, 2006
Okay.
Is when I moved from Chicago, and I just came at the right time. I mean, it was really, Seattle's a great city, but I just came in at a renaissance when there was this amazing intersection of burlesque and theater and drag and contemporary dance. Like all these artistic worlds were really meshing. For whatever reason, I just showed up. And in Chicago, I'd been like working multiple jobs. I was like always hustling, always trying to make things happen. And within a year living in Seattle, I had a full-time job as an MC, 5 nights a week at a cabaret. It just like fell into place.
Hey Queens, thanks for watching. For part 2 of this interview, click here. For more Hey Qween fabulousness, click here. And of course, don't forget to subscribe.